welcome to another live session here on Sunday evening. Today is the 16th of June 2024. I'm your host Ivan. Welcome to Earthworks Hub. Guys, I'm excited to be here. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be talking about a very important topic, and I think a lot of us need to hear this. It's about prepping for your tax. So tax is here. It's June, so by the end of June the financial year finishes and we all have to start putting our tax returns in. So I'm going to be talking about that. But before I get to that, I will go through my week as I usually do. Then I'll open up to you guys. I'll talk about my topic, which is going to be tax, and then I'll open up to you guys. And I already have a few topics that people have texted me and messaged me about during the week. So we'll hit those as well. And if you do have anything you want to talk about as well, keep that handy and get ready to type it in or whatever you have to do as we get further on. So thank you again for the likes. Thank you to everyone that's joined me here every Sunday at 8 o'clock. Really enjoying these episodes because we do get to talk about a lot of topics, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback, even especially for the one last week where I did talk about mental health a little bit. I got a lot of positive feedback on that, so thank you to everyone that's listening to these. Make sure you do tune in every Sunday evening. I want to say a big shout out to my sponsors. Firstly, Network Finance, the Bole Group, Melbourne Tractors, Spartan Machinery, Nexgen Landscapes, and JR Safety Co. So thank you very much for all my sponsors. I'll give you a quick update on my projects because I'm really keen to get on this tax topic, and there's a lot to cover on there. So during the week, I did work back at the basement job again. We did some more preparation for the concrete work, which is going to happen at the bottom of the house, part of the basement. So we've left the little car park section. That's going to be done separately, but we prepped up. I went back in there for another day and just prepped all the ground where it's going to be underneath the actual house itself, and we got it all ready for concrete. So we prepped a 50 mil bed of sand on there and scraped anything that we needed to, like the ramp had to come down a little bit. So we did all that, and now it's ready for concrete. So this week the concrete will be going in. Project Spalding, we've been very busy this week. We installed the mezzanine floor, so all the flooring or the chipboard has been installed, and now the chippy can come in, start putting up all the walls. Then I can get the windows installed. So that is up and running. We also installed all the plumbing outside, so all the roof drainage has been put in. We put a pit outside the front, so it catches all the water from the roof, and that'll all get drained out to the stormwater. We also installed electrical for the gates, so we're going to have electric sliding gates at Spalding, and we've installed all the cables for that. And then we did the NBN while we were there. So all of that work has been done. And then this week I'm going to be starting to excavate all the parking area at the front of the factory, and then the crossover. So that's going to be the plan for this week. It's meant to be raining all week. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But Melbourne apparently is in for some nasty weather. So I'll do the best I can. We'll see. But we've got a 14-ton Komatsu there, which would be good for me to do a bit of a review on it. So the Bole Group have kindly let me use their 14-tonner to start digging out the front. And I will keep you posted on that progress. So Project Spalding going very well. During the week, I did a couple of posts, and I got a lot of feedback on some of them, especially the Yanmar Vio 555, so the 5.5-ton Yanmar. I posted up about how I really disliked that safety lever sticking out the way it did. Every time I got in and out of the machine, I would get caught on it. My pocket would get caught. A couple of times I actually got caught and almost forced myself back into the seat. Just a really annoying way they've designed that safety lever. Like, it really sticks out, and if you watch that post, you'll see how far it sticks out. And a couple of guys have actually said they've cut that down a little bit, cut it shorter, and to make it work better. So yeah, I was surprised about how much feedback we got on that. And the other one was the quick hitch beeper. So while I was sitting in that case machine, for the last few weeks, that case 14 tonner, the 14 CX145. Oh, that quick hitch beeper. And if you're not sure, if you haven't seen the post, I'm talking about when you press the quick hitch release button, this beeper comes on. And I know all the machines have it, but this one is just particularly loud. It actually is so ear piercing that you can't concentrate on what you're doing. I know some of the guys were saying, oh, it's not that hard to change buckets. Like, it should be automatic anyway. It is, but I'm just saying, like, it's just so loud that it just ear pierces. And some people, I'm surprised, are saying that they've got beepers on the outside now as well. So that's something I haven't seen yet. Maybe it's another added safety feature, but I just can't believe how loud that is. Surely it doesn't need to be that loud. I understand the safety aspects, making sure you're aware that your buckets are off or not latched in properly, but it's just so loud, man. Very, very much, very overkill. But anyway, good to see a lot of responses on that. I did prompt people for a good conversation there. During the week, while I was at Project Spalding, I actually met Yasin from MOBA. So MOBA does GPS systems, machine guidance. And I did meet Daniel from MOBA out at Diesel Dirt and Turf in Sydney. But just by chance, Yasin came through and saw me sitting on the plumber's machine. So the plumber let me use that Yanmar Vio 55 to do a couple of things at Project Spalding. And Yasin dropped in just to say hello. And I suppose trying to see if he could find a potential client for MOBA. And we got chatting, and I told him I'm actually from Earthworks Hub and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, it was a good chat. So if you're listening, anyone from MOBA, it was nice to meet Yasin, the top bloke. And if anyone's looking for machine automation and that, yeah, just hit these guys up as well. So they do all that sort of stuff. Any GPS machine control things. So thank you to Yasin for dropping in. I had a positive, very positive, and I don't know if he's on here. I haven't had a proper look yet, but I had a positive message from Blessos. I think his name's Sweden, from Blessos in Emerald, Queensland. He hit me up this week and said, thank you for all the work I'm doing. It was good to get some positive feedback. It did fire me up. I'm really happy that people are watching. He just basically contacted me to say thank you for everything I'm doing. He's in the field himself, and he says that everything I'm doing is helping. So that was a really, really good positive bit of feedback for me. So thank you to Blessos as well. I don't know if you're on here. If you are, say hello. But yes, thank you very much for that positive feedback. And we've got a couple of topics. So a couple of people during the week have actually messaged me early on and said, I'd like to talk about this topic on Sunday. So I know Mitchell Morgan, one of the guys, has asked about talking about cutting edges on our bucket teeth, or whether to use straight gummy buckets. Keep that in mind, guys. We'll talk about that after my tax topic. So I will get to that, Mitchell. I just want to go through my tax topic first, and then we'll get to that. So thank you to all the guys that regularly come on during the week as well, during my lives, and also for all the people that join me regularly on Sunday. Make sure you share this. I want to spread the word to everyone. Happy to try and help everyone in every aspect. So if you've got any questions, keep them for after the topic, and we'll go from there. So are you guys ready for my tax topic? All right. Some people saying yes. That's good to hear. All right. So it is. Actually, you know what I will do before I talk about this preparing for tax? I will just do a little disclaimer. I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant. So I'm just going to be telling you from my point of view, from my experiences, how I prepare for tax and some of the things I've researched and the ways that can help you guys prepare your tax. So yes, it is that time for tax, the 30th or 31st. Is it 30th or 31st of June? Anyway, the end of June is the end of financial year. So whether you're working for yourself, self-employed, or you're working for someone as an employee, you are going to have to put in your tax return. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I do. So lodging a tax return doesn't have to be a hassle. A lot of people I hear like, oh God, here we go, it's tax time, this and that. But if you're already prepared and you're doing things on the go. Like if you're doing things on the fly, like I do throughout the year, um, you shouldn't have to have any surprises. So you shouldn't have to get to tax time and then have to quickly, run around and try and get receipts and do things last minute. You should be already doing that regularly. And if you haven't, then you got to work on that. And ways that you can help yourself before I go any further is some of the best things I did, especially when I had employees, is I went to like a software such as Zero or MyOb or something like that, where they will help you prepare pay slips for your workers, give you group certificates at the end of the year. They'll help that type of software will let you reconcile all your receipts regularly. Invoice your customers. It will chase up any invoices that are due, and you can even put bills in there. So if you got bills coming up and that, you can use that software to help you pay and make sure you're paying bills on time. So I think it's really, really wise that you do look at investing in some of that sort of software. You can do what I used to do. I used to just use a spreadsheet and just put in all my expenses, all my profits, all my income. All my income and all my expenses on a spreadsheet and then hand that to my accountant. And that used to be good enough. So you can still do that. But when it came to doing like pay slips and stuff, I found that instead of having to go on to, the ATO website, trying to work out how much tax for this worker, how much super, all that software did that for me. So I didn't have to worry about that. And often, I'd find myself when I've got a few spare minutes just reconciling my bank account with what I've spent and what's been coming in and out all on the spot. So you don't have to do it later. So I highly recommend something like that. But whether you've done heaps of tax returns or it's your first one or you're self-employed or you're not or you're working for someone, I'm just going to talk through a checklist of steps that you can take to make your return the best possible. All right. The first thing I'm going to say is, and I'm probably doing this a little bit late, but a couple of months before June, so 2 to 3 months before the end of financial year, I always do a pre-tax meeting with my accountant. And that is so that I don't have any surprises when it comes to tax time, and I can make some quick decisions before the end of financial year. And some of those decisions will affect my tax return. Yeah. So I think it's very, very important to have a pre-tax meeting with your accountant rather than just getting to the end of financial year. After that's completed, you go and you start in like July, August, September, putting in all your tax details to your accountant. And then you're getting all these shocks like, oh, why am I paying so much tax? Or I didn't think I was going to get that much profit, or I didn't think we're going to have that much of a loss. So I think it's important that you do have a pre-tax meeting. So hopefully you're all doing that. If you're not, make sure that you've still got a bit of time. Make sure you try and talk to them beforehand, because that leaves you some time before the end of June to make some purchases if you need to, or sell some things if you need to. So depending on your plan, obviously. So yeah, you can make some of those vital decisions, and then you and your accountant can understand your current year, your next year, and your future plans by working together at these pre-tax meetings. And then they will work with you. So you need to also come into those pre-tax meetings with a bit of a plan. You need to know what you're planning to do. Are you looking at investing or building the business? So if that's the case, you might need to show better profits. So then you've got to work on ways to increase your profit and do some things that can actually give you better income. So you might be able to start selling stuff, or you might have to ask some of your customers to pay bills a bit earlier so you can show that you've got better income. Or if you're trying to just reduce tax and you don't need to show really, really good income, then you might look at ways to reduce your profits or reduce your income. So you might start delaying payments on things and delaying customers paying some invoices and say to them, listen, don't pay me before June. I don't want to have too much. So there's other things about that. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail, but make sure you're having a pre-tax meeting with your accountant. All right. Hopefully that's making sense. So did you know that there are a range of expenses that can be claimed as tax deductions? So little things like from printer ink cartridges to a new laptop, all these sort of things you can buy as tax deductible purchases before the end of the financial year. So that's if you need to show that it'll reduce your income a little bit. So what some of the biggest tax deductions you can include, like computer gear, stationery, like printers, printer ink, paper, all those sort of things for your office. Anything office, home office equipment like actual laptops, phones. Do you need to upgrade your phones? Have a look at that. You might have to upgrade your phones. Yeah, I'm getting some comments here. Some people are saying the 5 Ps. What are the 5 Ps, Jack? Let's go through them. Yeah, other work-related and education training courses, stuff like that. You can claim those. If you're a business owner, you can claim some new equipment or upgrades to your vehicles, or you might have to look at, is it time to actually upgrade and get a new car or a new ute, or a new machine even. So if you can do that a month or two before, you can make sure that you purchase those things and actually receive and get them delivered before the end of financial year to make sure that you get those tax deductions and stuff on those. So if you're not sure what categories your purchases will fall into, have a chat to your accountant and they'll be able to tell you, they'll tailor things to your situations. Also, while you're there, make sure that you actually analyze your asset list. So I don't know if you're all aware of this, but your accountant should have a list of all your current assets and what depreciation you're claiming on all of those. So make sure that your list is up to date. So go in there, make sure that all the machines and all the equipment that you currently have are on that list, and that there's things on there that you might have sold and haven't informed him. So make sure you're informing the accountant that you've sold this item, what you sold it for, and so that way your asset list is up to date, and then all your depreciations and again properly accounted for. I'm just reading at the same time. So Jack Healy is saying proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. That's the 5 Ps. There you go, guys. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. I like that, Jack. I like it. That's a good one. So yeah, make sure you're following those 5 Ps by having an early pre-tax meeting. You can also proactively pay tax deductible business expenses. So if you run your own business, you might be able to prepay some of your expenses. So if you know that you've got things coming up like leases, insurance, even if you've got like investment properties, if you've got to pay insurances and stuff, and they're not due till July, you can pay them in June and claim those as tax deductions early on. So that's especially handy if you want to actually start reducing your tax. So yeah, make sure that if you're going to have spare cash and you want to try and get rid of some of it, pay some of the things that you need to pay for in advance. Just the same thing as I was saying, you can either delay your customers from paying their invoices. So you can tell customers like, please don't pay me now. Depending on their point of view, they might say they need to make payments. But if they're not fast, you can say, listen, don't pay me now because I don't want to show too much income. Wait till July. Or in reverse, you can say to them, hey, listen, I've got some invoices that you need to pay for July or August. Can you please pay those now in June because I need to start showing some good income? So that's the other thing. Now, Terra Pro is saying maximize your super contributions to bring your tax income down. You can also max out contributions for the previous 3 years. He's absolutely correct. I'm just about to actually talk about super as well. So I don't know the exact figures. I think it might have been if you earn over 37 grand or something like that, 37 or to 40 grand every year, you can make super contributions from your pre-tax income. So, and then you can claim these as tax deductions in your upcoming return. So the other good thing is, like, if you're going to be investing, so if you're going to be like me, I'm buying properties and stuff, and you need to show MOBA. Sorry, guys, I'll just interrupt. MOBA's just joined. Thank you, MOBA, for joining. I was just saying how I met Yasin during the week. He came to see me at Project Spalding. Got to have a bit of a chat. So, yeah, thanks for coming out, MOBA. Yeah, so if you're looking at, for example, investing, so you want to show a good income, you can actually put in super into yours. You can put away some super, and it will still get considered as income, as part of your income for the bank. So when it comes to lending, they'll look at it as part of your income still, but you'll also get a lower tax it'll help your tax, reduce your tax as well, if that makes sense. Sorry, I probably mumbled that up a bit. And it's particularly if you're self-employed, these contributions that you put in are taxed at much lower than your personal tax rate. So it's a good way to boost your super balance, exactly what Terra Pro was saying. So just talk to your accountant about how much you can put in. I know there's limits and things. That's what you call and contribution tax is what you pay when you put the money in yourself, especially if you're self-employed. So yeah, if you are planning to claim personal contributions, you've also got to do check your eligibility, and then sometimes you'll have to notify your super that you're there's like an application called Notice of Intent to Claim. So it's a form that you have to fill in with your super. Make sure you fill this in, but do talk to your accountant. He'll guide you on that. So, and if you are looking at investing and things like that, also talk to your broker as well, because they will be able to tell you roughly what sort of income you need to show, or what sort of, to be able to get more loans and things. So make sure you include your broker when you do talk to your accountant as well, and that will help like work out what sort of return you need to show. Because once the financial year finishes, it makes it a bit harder to make changes. And the other thing is you've got obviously donations and charities. So supporting organizations that are working for good. They can actually help you out at tax time. So if any donations you make, you can also claim as a deduction in your tax return, but not all of them are like that. So make sure that you do check with your accountant that if certain charities are tax, or certain donations are tax deductible. So I'm just reading Terra Pro saying, I think the tax rate 15% for super versus the 25 to 45 you'll cop through company salary. Exactly, yeah. So contributions tax will be 15%, where when you put in tax yourself, especially if you're self-employed, you'll only pay like 15% on that, and it'll still be, like I said, the bank will still look at it as income. Whereas if you don't, you'll get charged, your 25 to 45% through doing your normal taxes. So before you know it, June will be here. Like I said earlier, the end of June will be here. So make sure you start gathering all your paperwork and getting all your files sorted to give you the best chance of a smooth, stress-free tax return. Yeah. A lot of times I hear guys say it, man, it's so stressful. And I think, why'd you leave it so long? Like, don't. And then I hear guys, like 1 or 2 years later, like saying, I still haven't filed my tax return and haven't done this. And I'm like, why? Why don't you just do it, man? Get it out of the way then you don't have to worry about it. But anyway, it happens. So whether you're going to meet with an accountant or you're doing all your tax returns yourself, because a lot of guys still do them themselves, here's some of the documents that I've put in. I've put a list down of some income documents that you need. So you can either jot these down, but you're going to need your payment summaries or your income statements. So if you're working for someone, make sure that they're giving you the group certificates. If you get any lump sum and termination payment summaries, especially if you've changed jobs or you've retired or something during the year, any government payments. So if you've received any type of support from the government, any interest income. So if you've received any interest from banks or building societies, even if you've received income from like Bitcoin. I know a lot of people here have got like Bitcoin and stuff like that. Don't forget to include those things, because they are researching all that sort of stuff, and they're getting more and more tighter on these things. Any dividend statements. So if you're getting like franking credits and things like that from any of your if you are into shares and that, make sure you've got those ready. Any annual tax statements from your managed funds, and then any statements from your super funds as well. And then any other income. So like I was saying, any Bitcoin income, any rental properties, business income, foreign income, capital gains. So if you've sold stuff and you've made capital on it, employee shares if you're an employee. So yeah, someone's saying I'm not in my case. Yeah, that's definitely right. Thank God I'm not in there tonight, man. I'll tell you, I don't want to be digging in that hard material today. So apart from all your income documents, then you're going to need anything for deductions. So, any work-related expenses. So, motor vehicle expenses, diesel, any travel expenses, any fares, accommodation, any self-education or professional development training, any union fees that you've paid, registrations, tools, subscriptions, memberships, any home office gear. So, like I was saying earlier, you don't forget you can claim a lot of stuff from your house, from your home, especially if you've got a business as well. Computers, all that sort of stuff, phones, any interest expenses. So, if you've been paying interest on something, and like I said earlier, donations. So, if you've donated to any charities and that, make sure you keep it. You can even claim. How's this, guys? This is a good one for you. You can even claim when you register and you list your business with Vic Webster. Thank you. Yeah. Time for a coffee, Vic. You can even claim your listing on Earthworks Hub. How's that? So if you've gone on and listed your business on Earthworks Hub, don't forget you can claim that as an expense as well. Also, yeah. So any other deductions, even if you have, forgot to put this one on there, income protection and insurance premiums. And then any offsets and refunds. So if you've got an offset account in that and you're getting refunds, such as health insurance rebates, income activity statements, stuff like that, if you're running your own business. And don't forget, you got to have all your spouse details and all your kids' date of birth and stuff like that, especially if you're running trusts. So don't forget with your trust funds, even during your pre-tax meeting, make sure you start discussing how you're going to try and distribute your income. Because that, I suppose that a lot of us probably do have trusts and stuff. Make sure you work out that early on. And I know they've reduced the amount that you can put towards your kids and stuff, but make sure that you do discuss where you're going to distribute things early on. So like I said, you don't get to the end of the financial year and then you're doing last minute running around, or you don't want any surprises. So also make sure you're clear on tax time deadlines. So diary, make sure you're putting in notes for these important dates. So October 31st is when all your tax returns are due. So make sure October 31st, especially if you're doing them on your own. If you have an accountant, sometimes the accountant can push them out till, I think it's May the following year. Yeah, I think it's May the following year. So you don't want to get these unwanted fees and that for late tax returns. Like I said, there's a lot of guys that tell me that they haven't had returns done for like a year or two. So I still don't understand the theory in that. But make sure that you have all your deductions and that ready to go. Also, don't forget to remember to record the amount of liters of diesel you use, especially for us guys with machines and trucks. And don't forget to claim the diesel rebate because we use hydraulics. And if you look at the video I did with Luke McCrone from the VTU, he went into more detail about that. You can claim a higher diesel rebate because we're using hydraulics and we're working on site a lot of times. So you can claim a higher percentage of your diesel rebate. So make sure you talk to your accountant about that as well. So there you have it. So make sure you don't want to get, like I said, any surprises at tax time. You don't want to get late payment, penalties. Lodge your tax return with confidence, but make sure you do have a pre-tax meeting. So, like I said, there's only like 2 weeks left of the financial year. I probably should have done this a month or two ago, but it just popped up, and I thought, you know what, I haven't spoken about tax, and it's here. So I do it all the time. Make sure that you have all the documents ready to go. You don't want to be one of those last minute people that are just quickly trying to catch up and do things last second. So I won't talk too much more about tax. Hopefully I've answered all your questions on that. Thank you to everyone that had some input there, especially Terra Pro with his comments. Like I said, I'm not a tax professional. I'm just talking about my experiences. And I'm the type of guy that straight after a BAS or a business activity statement is due, I put mine in straight away. Straight after tax time, I put my all my tax documents into my accountant straight away because I don't want to be thinking about it and trying to follow things up later on. I like to do it while it's hot and get rid of it. So and make sure that you do include your brokers or your finance guys in get them involved when you're making these decisions and things with your accountant about your plans. So you need to know whether you want to show income or you want to reduce tax. So you got to do that. I remember one of my accountants used to say that in the beginning. What do you want to do? Do you want to reduce tax, or do you want to make good money or show good income so you can buy more investments? And I used to always say, I don't know, I want to do both. And he'd say, you can't do both. So you just got to try and figure out and make a plan together. So we got Vic Webster is saying super, super, super. Don't forget your super. So exactly, that's right. Like I said earlier, putting some money away to super, you'll pay only 15% rather than your whole 25 to 45%. And like I said, if you are investing and you need to show good income, by putting some money away into super, the bank will actually look at it like you've still made that money. So they won't consider it as an expense. So it's good for you. All right. So I won't go on about tax time anymore. Hopefully that was useful to you guys. Since one of the hot topics this week was about the annoying beeper for the quick hitch in the machine, then it prompted me to think about something else. In my 5-ton Kubota, I have 2 travel beepers on there. I don't know where. One's underneath the cabin somewhere, one's in the engine bay, and they are so loud when I'm tracking that I've actually had, when I'm doing streetscapes, I've had neighbors come out and complain about it. So we tried taping up the one that we found in the engine bay, and it sort of quietened it down. But these beepers are so loud when you're traveling, and they do both backwards and forwards. So my question was going to be, for a bit of a topic, I suppose, beeper versus squawker. So I had on my posi track a squawker installed, and I have one on my ute. So when I'm reversing, and on my truck I had a squawker. I prefer the squawker because I feel like it's not as loud as a beeper, but it's still loud enough to be heard, and it's not as ear-piercing as a beeper. What are your opinions, guys? So I'll start with that topic. Beeper versus squawker for a travel alarm. And Sydney Rockwell saying some great information shared. Thank you very much for listening as well, Sydney Rockwell. What do you guys think? I'm happy to open it up with that. Let me know your opinions. Who thinks a squawker is better than a beeper? Or who thinks a beeper is better than a squawker? What are your opinions on that? I personally think a squawker is better. Mitchell Morgan is saying he has a beeper and had it wired to a switch in the cab. Yeah, so I do notice a lot of the bigger machines and that do have the ability to turn off the beeper. So that is handy sometimes. But then you've got no beeper, you've got no sort of alarm. So that's why I prefer the squawker, because I feel like it can be constantly on, but it won't be as bad. Sydney Rockwell saying beeper. I don't know if it's actually a requirement to have one or the other. Like, I don't know if you actually... Are there sites that won't accept a squawker? So Gary, not Harry, saying most tier 1 sites seem to prefer squawkers over the beepers. So there you go. Thank you for that, Gary, not Harry. And then Terra Pro Earthworks is saying, I feel like a squawker could possibly be a union preference, but it could be wrong. Yeah, I think so. I have heard that a lot more of these union sites and that do prefer, or tier 1 sites even, do prefer squawkers. So I know I had to get one installed on my ute as well, because when I went onto a site, they made me actually have stickers on my ute. So I had to have the actual company stickers on the ute, a flashing light, and a reverse squawker before I could go on there. So On-Site Civil Group, there you go, is saying a squawker all the way. So it looks like we've got some beepers, some squawkers. I'm going to hit you up with another topic, and this was a request from Mitchell Morgan. So thank you for messaging me and requesting this. So Mitchell was talking about, when you are digging around services, they often require you to have a toothless bucket. So he was saying, what's the preference? A bucket that has teeth, and then you weld like a little a grater blade on the actual teeth, or having an actual proper gummy bucket, which is just a bucket with just a little blade at the end of it. So there's no actual teeth. And Mitchell's argument was that he prefers a regular bucket with teeth with a little blade attached to the bottom of it, because then you can see through the teeth while you're digging. I suppose the other good thing about having that is, I find when I have a gummy bucket, it clogs up very easy. So it's a pain in the bum when that clogs up with clay, because you're constantly trying to empty it and sort of shake the bucket around and tap the ground with it to get the material out. And often you got to have a labourer or yourself get out and shovel the clay out of the bucket. And that's like every dig, you got to do that. So I suppose by having the bucket with teeth on it and then just welding on a blade at the end of it, as you're digging, it might sort of, the old teeth might break it up a little bit so it doesn't clog the bucket. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. But yeah, I'm happy to hear your opinions. While you're all chewing on that, Gary Not Harry has sent a comment. Best way for a ute, I would suggest isolating it so it only comes on if your beacon is activated. So it stops the neighbours, annoying the neighbours if you reverse into driveways when you get home. Yeah, very true. So yeah, I suppose if you've got to put your flashing light on, if you got to put your flashing light on anyway for a work site, I suppose then that should turn on your squawker so that when you are reversing on site, that will only work then. However, I have to admit, a lot of times I've been at shopping centres, and as I'm reversing, I see people turn around and notice me, and I always think, I reckon it'd be good to have a squawker on, and everyone's going to hate me here. I know they're going to hate this, but I think for like children's safety, I think we should have a squawker on all cars. Because how many times have we heard in the past, like, mums reversing over kids and stuff in the driveways? And I think if you had a squawker, at least the kid would have some warning. And the same for shopping centres. Like I see them turn around. As soon as my squawker goes off, I see people turning around to see what that noise is. And I feel like, it'd be a good safety feature, especially in shopping centres and things as well. So we're getting a few people here responding about the gummy bucket. So Jack Healy says a proper gummy bucket with an arrowhead cutting edge is perfect. Terra Pro saying you can even leave the center tooth out and just leave. So if you've got like a 300 bucket, you've got 3 teeth on it. He's suggesting leave the center tooth out and just weld a little bar across the bottom of the remaining 2. So that way you can see through it, which is a good idea. Sydney Rockwall saying a tooth bucket with a blade welded on is the best. And Terra Pro saying an advertising. Are you talking about my stickers on the ute? Yeah, but that's good. Good feedback, guys. It's good to see that people are thinking about it. But yeah, I wouldn't be against all cars actually having a beeper, and it doesn't have to be super loud, but not a beeper, sorry, a squawker, because I feel like I feel like it'd be safer, like people walking behind the car while you're reversing and stuff like that, they'll actually hear you and turn around, you know what I mean? Terra Pro is saying for the squawker in the car parks. Yeah, I suppose, as soon as they hear the squawker, they turn around, see the car and see all your stickers. So there you go. I'll tell you a funny story actually. Oh, Nicola's joined us. Nicola Draco requested, I think it was you that requested me doing a review on an SK100. For your information, I will be getting a review on one of those very shortly. I've been in touch with the Melbourne Tractors guys, and they're going to allow me to have a look at one. So in the near future, I will be going to them and having a bit of a play on an SK100. So hopefully I'll have some feedback for you on that. I can tell you a funny story. One of my utes still has stickers on it, and my dad drives it. So he's obviously in his 70s. And I got a phone call. No, I got an email once, just an anonymous email. And this was during COVID. I got an email from an anonymous person saying, hey, we've just seen one of your workers leaving the trolley at the shopping centre and not putting it away properly in the trolley bay. And I was thinking, what are they talking about? And they said, yeah, one of your workers in your white ute was seen. And then I wrote back to them and said, I'm sorry, can you just confirm what car it was and where it was? And they told me the area, which wasn't far from my dad's house. And then they said it was a white Mitsubishi with your stickers on it. And I thought, oh no. And they said, yeah, there was one of your elderly workers was putting shopping away and then just left the trolley near the car and didn't actually put it away back in the trolley bay. So I had to call my dad and tell him, Dad, I'm going to take those stickers off because you're getting me in trouble. You're not supposed to just leave the trolley there. You got to put it away. And he was like, I don't care. Who is it? Tell me who it was. And I was saying that it was some random. I don't have their information, but yeah, just make sure that you're putting the trolley away, because while you've got stickers on your ute, people are seeing them, and I'm getting emails. So there's another thing, guys. If you're not using your car for work anymore, remove your stickers, because people will keep hassling you. So yeah, there you go. So that was about the squawkers. We've got another question here from Cooper. Cooper's another regular. What do you prefer, a ram tilt hitch or an ordinary tilt hitch? I think we had a bit of a discussion on that not long ago, but I can answer that, Coops. Sydney Rockwell is laughing, saying the downfall to having advertising. Yeah, and that's the other thing. You got to be careful, because if you flick a rock, and someone told me this once when I had all stickers put on my truck. Sorry, Coops, I'll get back to you in a sec. Someone told me don't put stickers on your tip truck, because if you ever flick a rock on someone, as soon as you've got stickers on there, you'll be getting phone calls, regarding your workers doing stuff. And it's true. I've had workers in the past, like, take someone's mirror off with the tipper, and instantly I'm getting phone calls. One of your truck drivers just took my mirror off, or somebody, one of my workers didn't park properly at a McDonald's. He took up 2 bays, because the truck's obviously big, took up 2 or 3 bays, parking bays, and I got phone calls straight away. Oh, your workers are blocking the whole car park and this and that. So yeah, sometimes the downfall to having advertising on your vehicles. Going back to your question, Cooper, uh, a ram tilt hitch, which is the one that has the 2 rams that face outwards, can be um, can make it obviously stronger in one way than a regular tilt hitch. But when you have the ram ones, often you can't tilt more than 45 degrees, so they have a minimal tilt. So you can't tilt like 90 degrees and that, like you can with an ordinary tilt or a heli tilt. But the other thing is as well, a lot of times the rams will stick out further than the buckets. So if you're digging a 300 mil trench, the rams might stick out at 450. So once you start getting deeper, the ram tilts, the ram, what do you want to call them? The actual, the ram cylinders will start hitting the edge of the dirt, the edge of your trench, and then you'll damage them. So that would be the reason I would say that the heli tilt or regular tilt would be better. One, yeah, you can tilt obviously on better angles, and two, yeah, you're not going to touch the sides of your trenches. So that is what my opinion is. If anyone else wants to share their opinions, please do. But that would be my opinion. And Jack Healy saying, yeah, when you cut someone off, the advertising on your vehicle doesn't help. There you go. Hopefully, we're not cutting people off. Jason Katevsky saying, don't come out on the case. Yeah. Oh, he's saying, I think they're laughing because, yeah, when I sit in this case machine at this job, the basement job I'm working on, yeah, often I'm like, I just can't wait to get out of it. So, just having a bit of a laugh. Like I said, guys, I'm drinking a bit of water tonight, no scotch. Lubricate the throat there. Nexgen Civil as well. Thank you for joining. Who are Melbourne Arancini guys? Make sure that thank you for joining. If you need to, if you enjoy eating arancinis, make sure you buy them from Melbourne Arancini. Jason's laughing, saying, "Don't stress. He's been in the basement for 4 weeks." Yeah, I know that feeling. It's like you never get out of there. While we're still getting some feedback on that question about the hitch or even the squawker or beeper, or while people are thinking of new topics, I'll just make sure I go back and talk about the Earthworks Hub website. So make sure if you need any type of Earthworks service or trade, make sure you go to earthworkshub.com.au. Use one of the services that are on that on the listing there. That's for all of Australia. So we've got guys all over Australia listed on there for anything to do with earthworks or construction in general. So we've actually had guys, we've got finance people on there, insurance companies, we've got guys with machines. What else is on there? Labor companies, tree removal companies, little diesel mechanics. We've got hydraulic repair companies on there. So any trade or service or anything to do with earthworks, make sure that you go to earthworkshub.com.au and use those services that are on there. So, and if you've got a business and you want to, get more exposure, also list your business on there. So we've had another couple of listings this week. I'll go over some of those. So we had Thomas Earthworks from Orange. He's added himself to there. We got Hydrolink in Warragul. So I think I might have mentioned them last week, but they're on there. And then, like I said, you can be anything to do with the business earthworks industry. A business such as City Safes. So we've got a safe company that's been listing themselves on there. A place that does trophies and medals. So let me go back and find them. Hang on one sec. So they're called Cash's Awards, Atlantic Insurance, GMA Diesel. We've got float companies on there. So anything that you need that's earthworks related or construction related, go on to earthworkshub.com.au. While you're on there, you can also click on shop and you can buy merch. So if you want to get yourself some Earthworks Hub merch, go on there and you can buy some stuff and it will be delivered. All good quality stuff as well. So everything that's on there I've sampled and checked and it's all good. So it's not cheap crap. There's also machinery sales companies on there. So you've got Zoomline, Melbourne Tractors and other sort of people on there. Yeah, there you go. So there's heaps going on at earthworkshub.com.au. All right. The other thing as well, make sure that you are following me on YouTube. So there's plenty of videos on there. I've got all these Sunday live sessions. I've been posting them up as podcasts. So they're also available on YouTube. I've got the video version and the audio version. So depending on what you like, I've got both versions on there. There's also videos on operating tips, on product reviews, all sorts of stuff on their projects. So make sure you are subscribing on there and liking. Make sure that you're following me on TikTok and Instagram. During the week, I do a lot of live sessions while I'm operating. So during the week, look out for notifications that I'm going live. I do those mainly on TikTok because I seem to get a lot more responses on TikTok during the week. So make sure you do go on there and follow me on those ones. So also there's a Facebook group. So I've had heaps and heaps of people join now. So the Facebook group is another good one. So we've got Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then also Spotify and Apple. So make sure that you do follow me on all those socials so that you're up to date with everything. And the same thing, if you've got some topics that you want me to cover, like some of the guys have during the week, hit me up. Just send me a message. You can email me. You can even text me if you've got my number. And I'm trying do some podcasts or even special videos on those topics for you. Even if you've got little topics like today, like Mitchell said about the cutting edges, stuff like that, make sure you hit me up. Or if you want to even give me some positive feedback, like Blessos did, thank you very much to Blessos this week. That was really good. It really boosted me. So thank you for calling up and letting me know that you're happy with what I'm doing. And that's it, yeah. So what else is there? Because I've got another 10 minutes. I'm happy to keep talking. If you guys want to talk about a specific topic, I'm happy to do that. If you want to go back to one of the other ones or a question on something else, let me know. Terra Pro has a question. How do you think our industry is going at the moment? Terra Pro, that's a good question. I'm not into rumors, but I have heard during the week, and please confirm, guys, if you've heard the same thing. I've heard that a lot of civil or subdivision companies have let go a lot of subcontractors, and some of the subcontractors that I've heard that they've let go are really, really long-term subbies that they've used. Like guys that they've always kept until the end. And then there's a couple of guys I know working in subdivisions that have been told that once their projects finish, they're also going to get let go. So it's not a good sign, especially when you look at that. I always look at subdivisions and that first, because I feel like they're the start of the process. Because once, if land's not selling, it's like a domino effect, I suppose. If land's not selling and, new estates aren't being released, houses aren't getting built, then I see that, the next step is, obviously civil companies don't have the work, that the developers aren't giving them the work. So then they've got to get rid of their employees and subbies. And then obviously people aren't building. So then the residential starts slowing down. So anyone that does residential work, start seeing like site cuts and, slabs and concreters and stuff will start slowing down. Then guys doing landscaping will start slowing down. So it's like a snowball. And then, TerraPro saying he's seeing it on Facebook pages. So many people looking for a seat. Yeah, you're right. And look, surprisingly, I still am seeing people advertising or companies advertising looking for workers. So it may not be all that bad because, obviously there's companies out there that still are looking. Are they mostly interstate? Possibly. I hear that, some of the states like Adelaide and Queensland are still going strong. So, maybe a lot of people interstate are looking for employees, but Melbourne in particular or Victoria, I think it's very, very tough. You just have to look at the housing issues that we're having. I don't know. It's just I feel like we're going to be in strife for at least a year or two, easily. Because like I was saying, and I've said it a few times now, even if things do get better and we start selling more houses, by the time developers get all the permits and paperwork ready and people buy the blocks and then they get settled and released, and then by the time civil companies even get their hands on those blocks and start, getting those stages, it's going to be at least a year or two before they even start getting that work. So, I think it's going to be tough. And you're going to see a lot of machines for sale, which is already starting to happen. And you're going to see a lot of people losing work and losing their jobs. And you're going to see, a big influx of operators coming out looking for work. So I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to be a bit tough. Yeah. So very important to have some buffers. Like I said last time as well, it's very important to have some buffers. Very important to find things to do while it's quiet to try and make some money. And I think now is not the time to be fussy about what you're doing. So don't be too proud to get out and do some physical work if you have to, or even if you have to, subsidize your income by going and helping other mates do things, or, even for example, if your mate does scaffolding and you've got no work in your machine for a week, and he says, "Oh, I need someone to come and do scaffolding." Don't be too proud to say, "Oh, look, I'll come and work for you for a few days," because you got bills to pay. Banks will always want their money, so they don't care if you're quiet or not. They'll want their money. So if you've got machinery or trucks and you owe money on those, the bank will still want their money regardless whether you're making it or not. So so now is not the time to be too proud to go and do other types of work. So definitely keep an eye out for other income opportunities. And it doesn't have to be in construction. It could be something else. So and if you need to, go and get a little second part-time job or a little side hustle, do something, buy things and sell them on marketplace, make some bit of money here and there. You might need to make some sacrifices. If you've got partners that are not working, they might need to go and do some work for now just to get you over the line. So don't think that you've got no options. There's always options. So there's always work around. It's just whether or not you want to take it, and whether or not you're too proud to say that you're doing something different. So if you have to, go pack boxes at Woolworths in the evenings if you have to, or whatever. I won't forget when I was an actual supervisor at this stage. So I was I in the warehouse or the factory? I think I was already in manufacturing by then. So like I said, in my previous life, I was in manufacturing and warehousing and managerial positions. So there was a stage where I was a supervisor in the production plant before I became manager. And I was already on a good wicket, but we always needed that little bit more money. I think it was a stage where it might have been during the GFC and that, but we, as much as I was earning, it still wasn't enough. And I wasn't too proud to say in the evening. So I'd finish work at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then at 5, 6 o'clock I'd go to like a freight company and pack their trucks with fridges and boxes. Sorry, my TikTok's just asked me to verify. Yeah, I'd go and pack boxes and fridges and that into semi trailers and load them up and get them ready for the next day. And I'd be doing that till maybe 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then going back to work at 6, 7 in the morning, back as a supervisor in the factory. So sometimes you just have to do that little bit extra in these tougher times. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to start to think outside the box a bit. And like I said, don't be too proud to say that you're doing something different for a short time if you have to. And I've seen it before. A lot of guys in the past I've heard have parked up their machines and gone and done something else. So yeah, Sydney Rockwall is agreeing, saying we've all done it at one point in our lives. And it might not be forever. So you might only have to go and do this little side hustle or extra job for a few months or something just to get a bit of cash flow again and to build up a buffer. And then you can go back to what you were doing. So yeah, might be a good time to actually open our eyes, broaden our horizons, and start looking at other things, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, I reckon. I've seen it. I've seen in the time that I've been doing this, I've seen situations where, and there's been in the past, there's been times where all the subdivision civil companies and that are getting rid of all these people and getting their own machines, and then everyone starts to freak out. All these subbies are out. There's so many people, and and then people start dropping their rates, and everything just goes to crap. But then it fixes itself and comes back again. So we've had these before. It's not the first time, but it is a bit scary for me because it does feel a little bit different to what I've had in the past. So I feel like it's going to be at least a year or two before it gets any better. All right, so I think my 1 hour is up. Hopefully, I provide some good information on that tax preparation. If you haven't booked a time with your accountant, make sure you go and do it. I know we've only got a couple of weeks now, but you still have time. And one of the reasons I say this as well is there was a time where, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I didn't quite get to have a proper tax meeting. Oh no, I think it was last year because I went overseas. That's right. So we went overseas just before tax time. So I didn't really get a good chance to have a proper pre-tax meeting. And it's probably the first time I haven't done that. And I was really debating on whether to change a car that we had. And I was thinking this thing might break down soon. Maybe we're going to upgrade. And I said, it doesn't matter. I'll do when we get back. I'll work it all out. And lo and behold, just before I left, the car broke down, and it was going to be like 5 or 6 grand or more, maybe 7 grand to fix this thing. And then I also found out that we still were able to get the full asset write-off on vehicles up until the end of last financial year. To put it this way, I should have probably bought a new car before I went overseas, and could have got a proper asset write-off. Wouldn't have to. This car might not have broken down. I might have been able to flog it off before it broke down. All these things worked against me. Whereas if I did that pre-tax meeting, I could have worked out with the accountant, you know what, it's time to get rid of that car, get a new one. And I may not have gone through that process. And now I've gone and bought a new car and couldn't get the full asset write-off. And now I'm not going to see any benefit of that, I suppose, until the next financial year. So I don't know, just some pre-tax planning is important. Here we go. Hang on. Henry is asking. Sorry, Henry. I was just about to go off, but I'll answer your question. Henry is asking, as just an employee, what do I need to do to get a tax return? First year in Aussie. To get a tax return, just in brief, Henry, as an employee, make sure you allocate yourself a accountant. So you can do your tax yourself if you really want, but if it's your first year in Oz, I'd make sure, for me, if I was you, I'd go get an accountant. So you can even go to like H&R Block and all those like little general ones, or you can go to a little private company, get yourself an accountant, and make sure that any of the money that you've earned during the year, especially if you've just been an employee, you do get a payment summary, and your accountant will be able to help you with what you can claim. So there's heaps of stuff that you can claim as an employee. I went through some of those a bit earlier. This video will be posted up on YouTube. So if you want to go back and listen to what I went through, you can do that. If not, there's heaps of websites that can help you with that. So just click on there, pre-tax checklist and stuff like that, and you'll find some information on there. But yeah, get yourself a accountant somewhere local even, and get together with them and start talking about what you have to do. So hopefully I've helped with that, guys. Hope you had some good stuff to take away with you. Thank you very much for joining me again on this Sunday evening. I hope you all have a good week. Make sure you follow me on all those socials. Share the shit out of it, like I say. Earthworks Hub, the only hub that you should be watching. I will see you all on the next live session. Thank you very much. Take care, guys. Have a good night.